about Jr Dragsters. My name is Bill. If you haven't learned about it yet, go ahead and check us out at Jr Dragster Plus. That'll be, I'll add a link at the bottom of this video here. And my username on the board is Wild Bill. Go ahead and ask it all the questions you want. There are no silly questions, just, we've heard it all before and we've all been there before. So go ahead, give us a shout out and check us out, and we'll all be more than happy to help you. Now, on to the video. Hey everybody, welcome back to another Learning Jr Dragsters video. My name is Bill. Today's video we're going to be talking about aligning and or setting toe and the difference between the two, and how you can go about either setting the front toe or setting the toe in, or actually aligning the front wheels with the steering wheel to the back axle of the Jr Dragster. Alright, now that we got the camera moved over here and the body off so you guys can see a little bit, first couple things I want to point out is under the front tires I have two vinyl tiles that, one on top of the other, that I've made, basically slip with a combination of grease and lightweight oil. Steel panels might be better, or even better yet, if you got a couple Lazy Susans that are ball bearing, you can set the front tires on those and that'll take any of the friction out, so when you make your adjustments and turn your wheels, you're not fighting friction on the ground and getting, a relatively false reading. Another couple things I want to point out is, at least on my car, my tie rod ends are both right-hand thread. So I can't just undo the jam nut and twist the tie rod sleeve as I could if this were a full-size car with a left hand and a right hand thread. That would allow you to twist it and adjust just by that. If yours are the same way, just simply take the bolt out that holds the tie rod end, take the lock nut off and put a regular bolt on, or a regular nut on there that you can, quickly, just by with your fingers, snug up and take off. And then when you get all done, put your lock nuts back on so your bolts don't break loose and your bolts don't fall out of your steering. But having just a regular nut up there, finger tight, will allow you to take the tie rods off, drop the tie rod down, twist the tie rod out just a little bit, put it back up, retake your measurement, and adjust accordingly. Alright, and before we go any further, I wanted to zoom in and show you where I'm going to be referencing my measuring points off of, because these tires do have a tread pattern in them. I know some tires like the TF100s don't have any tread. For those, you could probably just use the edge of the wheel to reference off your measuring point, but I'm actually going to be taking all my measurements off of the inside edge on both of this tread line. Just because with a tape measure, it's actually a little bit easier to get, if you can get to the outside part. I suppose if you didn't have tread like this, or had a TF100 tires, you could put the front end of the car in the air, get the tires spinning really fast, and then use something like a fine tip Sharpie or something to just touch the wheel while it's spinning, and that'll draw you a nice true line as close to the center. As long as both lines are relatively straight through the tread of the tire, your measurement should come out pretty accurate. So I'm going to be using the inside edge of this tread here on both tires to take all my measurements. Alright, pretty sure none of the numbers on the tape measure are actually going to show up on the camera. But the other thing is you want to try and get as close to, when you're measuring the toe, you want to try and get as close to the center height of the tire as possible. You know, both front and rear, and try and keep it at the exact same height. Just take your measurement across the back of the tires. Right here we're at 22 3/8. And when you come across to the front, remember you want the front of the tire towed in about 1/8 of an inch. Get my lines all measured up here. And it looks like that says 22.5. So I'm going to go back, I'm going to double check, because if that's accurate, that means we're 1/8 inch towed out, not 1/8 inch towed in. Double checking. It's like 22 7/16. Alright, no, wasn't quite lined up there. Yeah, it looks like we're about 1/8 inch towed out. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take and we're going to loosen up our jam nuts. As it looks like I've got more tie rod exposed on this side, you know, just for setting the toe on this, I'm going to, and we want to increase our toe in, which means we need to increase the length of our tie rod to actually bring this tire and tow it in. And go ahead and drop this down. Take the washer out. I'm going to give this one full revolution out. Get everything back up into place. Get that all snugged up, make sure everything's tight. Make sure you use the same reference points on the tire or on the wheel to take your measurement.
looks like that gave us 22 7/16
in the back.
And 22 3/8 in the front. Double check. It looks like we're 22 3/8 in the front. So we're a 1/16 of an inch toed in at this point. Like I said, I want to go for an 1/8 inch toed in. I'm going to come back over here. Get this back off. Get that bolt out. I'm going to give this another, we'll give it another half a turn this time. Get everything snugged back up. Double check and see where we're at. And we are 22 1/2 in the back. And looks like we were right on the money. 22 3/8 in the front. So there we have, just set the toe in and got an 1/8 inch toed in the front. Alright, that was a quick down and dirty explanation of just setting the toe in, just referencing off the two front tires and making sure that you got sufficient toe in and how to adjust the toe in. Now we're going to get on to actually aligning the front end to the rear end with getting the steering wheel, centered, so that when your driver is driving down the road or down the track, they don't have the steering wheel clocked at 2 degrees or 3 degrees or even 90 degrees. When your steering wheel, the butterfly wheel or whatever steering wheel you use is actually straight up and down. And now I'm going to take you for a quick walk around, show you the setup I've got here, and then I'm going to explain how to square it up and take your measurements and make your adjustments. Alright, here you can see how I got the I already got the string mocked up around the car. I haven't actually squared or measured anything off yet. Just a couple things I want to talk about first. First, if you notice, I've got these two. I've used aluminum. They're actually garage door seal tracks, but they have a nice channel for holding the string in place. I just got them C-clamped to some 4x4s, which adds some quite a bit of stability. There's one here at the rear of the car, and then if we come around all the way up,
You'll see I have another one here at the front of the car with the string in the uppermost channel of both of them. The key to these, whatever you use, be it PVC plastic tubing or angle or what have you, you want them to be the exact same length. That way when your box is actually square, what you're doing is you're taking this, using those to take and make a square box of string around the car to use as your reference point. And if those two are not perfectly, the same length, then obviously all your measurements are going to be inaccurate. But using just one allows me to, quickly square up and center the box around the car without having to move the car. But you want to get at least enough height to where the string needs to be in the center of each wheel, both front and rear. And if you were to come down, let's see if I can get you a shot on that. And if you look, you can see exactly how the string cuts right through the center of the wheel. And the front and rear of the wheel into relation to the string is where we're going to be taking our measurements. We're going to be moving the rear support by measuring at the rear of the wheel, and then moving, we take a measurement at the front of the wheel and move the front string support to get the box centered around the car and squared up. Alright, step one in the squaring up process. You want to take a fairly accurate ruler. I'm using my combination square here. You want to take and measure from the rear wheel, from the rear of the rear wheel to the string. Numbers don't really matter. Right here I have right about 4 3/4. What you're looking for is to get them equal. And right here I have 5 1/2. So I'm well over this way. So to get them equal and square up the back of your box, just position your rear support and keep measuring until both measurements at the rear of the tire to the string are the same. Just move a little bit at a time. The key thing is to make sure you keep this string tight. You don't want any slack in your string. Five and a half. It looks like we need to come over. That way just a little bit. I don't think I moved it at all there. And maybe another 1/16 of an inch. I got 5 3/4 there. 5 3/4 there. Alright, we got our, at least the rear string squared up, or centered. Then you want to take a right angle, you know, or any kind of square. And just slowly rotate until you get it as square as you possibly can. Obviously checking on both sides. Now hopefully we won't have to move this again. But to get the front aligned, we'll take our measurement here at the front of the wheel, and then we'll go up and we'll move the front string support so that we get the string centered, and we'll get this time the measurements do matter, because you do want to get the same measurement here as you do here. Like, we're a little bit off here, but you want to get the same measurement at all 4 points on the rear wheel, and that'll get your string centered and square on the car, and more importantly square to the rear axle and the drive tires, so that the car is going straight down the track. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that off camera, and we'll be back with you shortly. Alright, I've got the string all set, squared, measured and squared up. Now remember, the tighter you can keep this string and the more accurate you can do your measurements and keeping everything square, the better your results are going to be. Now the first thing we want to do here, once we get everything centered and squared up and get the string all laid out, you want to go ahead and get your steering wheel to be either level or straight up and down, what have you, whatever you want to call it. If you want to go ahead and get your steering wheel centered, and then make all your adjustments off of the measurement between the string and the front tires. Now I'm going to move the camera back up to the front and show you where you need to take your measurements and go from there. Alright, now that we got the steering wheel centered, all your string is squared up, centered, and all measured out, this is where we can start taking our measurements to actually make our adjustments. Now we're going to be measuring each wheel individually, not necessarily in relation to each other as we did when we were just setting the toe in. Because this time we're actually using the string to measure off of the wheel while keeping the steering wheel straight, and we're actually aligning the front wheels to the center line thrust line of the rear axle and making sure that the car goes straight down the track. So now we're going to come in here, we're going to take our measurement from the very edge of the wheel to the string, and take our reading. We got 6 inches there. Take our reading, and we have right about 5 3/4 there. Yeah. Alright, let's double check our measurements. That's 6 there. A little over 5 3/4 there. So this tire is actually towed out. Even though we have our toe in, we set our toe in, now that we centered the steering wheel, this tire is actually towed out. And we'll come over here, and we should find that this one is towed in. So over here we have 5.5, and we come to the front, and we have 6. So regardless of what your measurements are, when you get done, what you want to find is the distance between here and here is less than the distance between here and here. As you take your measurements, you want to toe the tire in to increase the measurement here, and you're actually decreasing the measurement between here and here, achieving your toe in. To go ahead and drop this tie rod off. What do I do with my wrenches? We'll give this a little bit of toe out. And everything lined back up. Get everything snugged back down. Retake your reading. And now we're at 5 15/16 in the back. About 5 15/16. So with an equal measurement, right now we would call this 0 toe. Well, like I said, we want this tire towed in, each tire towed in 1/16 of an inch. That will give us our 1/8 inch total toe. So we'll go ahead and we'll lengthen this tie rod again. Go ahead and take our measurements, and now we have 5 3/4 in the back. We should have a larger number in the front than that. Yeah, looks like we're just shy of 6. Looks like I went a little too far. Got a little too much toe in. Go ahead and we'll give it one turn in. The more times you measure, the more accurate it's going to be. Alright. And there, it looks like we've achieved our 16th toe in on this side. And then we would just repeat the process the same for the other side. And then you'd want to go back, make sure that your steering wheel is still centered and level. Double check all your measurements. Before you button everything up. Alright, that pretty much wraps up this video on how to set the toe in and also how to center the steering wheel and align the front wheels to the rear wheels with keeping the steering wheel straight. I hope you guys found this video useful and helpful, and we'll see you next time.